All right. Well, why don't we pick up with part two now? Derek, you continue doing what you're doing here. We'll get into it. Raphael is going to be reunited with you all at some point in time. In fact, sorry, I got to look at my bottom bar here. There we go. That's what I needed. All right, so yeah, while you all were talking and doing something, I was doing a little plotting and scheming of my own, such as is the DM's right. Anyway, so Raphael, you are going to be reunited. Tazray, I'm presuming, had some kind of a conversation with the three ladies upstairs, and between the five of you, there are 3 keys: 211, 213, and what I say, 302. So do what you will with that.
Out of character calling dibs on 213, lucky number.
Yeah, I figured 213 would appeal to Jade, so I gave Celine 211. I figured the boys would take upstairs.
Yeah, hey, Raph, we're rooming. I hope that's okay.
Raphael, are you fine with 302 then?
I'm fine with 302.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Then you all go to your rooms, and the night will pass without incident. We can add in filler, which, by the way, if any of you as players ever want to have sort of like side conversations or little episodic something, because I do, just due to the format and some time constrictions, I do have to kind of like leap things along a little bit. But if you ever did want to do any role-playing, like side adventure stuff, maybe I could set something up in our Discord. Or we can have just sort of like a side adventure area so that people can read, you know, oh, and this is what happened the first night in the Wench as the girls had their sleepover or whatever.
I think the Discord thing would be really cool.
That would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go for that.
I used to have
Heck it.
West Marches thing like that.
Oh, sounds like it's a good idea. All right, so afterwards, after our broadcast content, I'll put something up there, and then that's a place then for you all as PCs, and then as various community members who have been chosen to be NPCs, kind of come and go throughout the story. They can even pop in, and you can have little side conversations or adventures with them as well. So congratulations, all your Pokemon have been refreshed, and you are ready to set back out into the world. So, for all of you, morning comes. You don't fall asleep and wake up dead. You wake up quite alive. And by the way, if I did not bring this up, you do not have to wear a mask indoors. It's only when you're outside in the city that you have to. Though if you wish to wear a mask indoors, you are welcome to do so as well. Anyway, with that aside, as you go out, and the town is now actually bustling. It is busy. In fact, we have a nice representation of the town for you all. All of you are currently... Oh, and got to zoom out a wee little bit more here. Whoop. Too much. Something's snapping. All right, so all of you are currently at the Tumbled Wench. Now, you are in a... I mean, it's not a town, it's a city. There's about 85,000 people who live here, all right? There are several areas of interest that can occupy your time while you're at least waiting these 3 days to go back and visit the captain for your payment. There is an arena in the town called the Sleep Sand Circle. There is, of course, just the Tumbled Wench itself. You can just stay there and eat and sleep and, you know, do whatever. The middle here, it's the town hub. It just represents, I don't know, you're wandering through residential areas, you're wandering through, you know, some small shops, things like that. There is a place called the Carcery Market. And that is very much a concentrated commercial plaza or mall. Not that you can't find more unique little, you know, boutique shops and other commercial enterprises inside Masque of Flowers proper. You can go back to Northport during the day. And, of course, there's, you know, fishermen have brought back in fresh fish. There's new ships arriving and departing, things like that. Or if you exited the city, you would leave into the area appropriately called Flower Field. And it is called as such because it is just endless acres, square miles, kilometers, whatever you want to use, hectares of flowers. And rolling hills until you get to the Brow Mountains, a little bit to the southwest. So what you all can do is, as you're spending day one in town, you can let me know where you're going or what you're doing.
Jade is most certainly looking for the old soldier. She needs to know his fate. Is he alive in order to finish his trip? Is he capable of making it? Or does simply arriving on this solid earth manage to make him happy?
Oh, I'm sorry. If that was a prompt for me, I had a sound effect in my ear. What? Who did you address with that? I had Ostomer gave us a follow, and that was dominating my earphone. So as you're talking,
Ostomer, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ostomer, for the host. So Jade, what were you directing? I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. Jade is looking for the old man who may be in quarantine right now. Hopefully not the mortuary, as he's one of the few that has offered kindness to her, so she feels indebted to a certain extent. Or maybe this is simply the journey that was meant to be taken. Either way, she must find him.
Okay. Jade is probably going to Northport then, where things are held in quarantine that are diseased. Who else is going where?
Sand circle.
All right, Tazray, go ahead and move your piece there.
Yep.
What Celine will do is she's going to she's going to probably go after Tazray just so that if he gets super beaten up that he has someone to look after him.
Sure. Go ahead and move your piece there.
Yeah.
Raphael or Bright?
I'm looking for someone too, but they're probably in the same part of town, so I'm just going to go with Jade for now.
Okay. And that leaves Raphael to go where?
I'll be staying at the Tumbled Winch.
Sure.
I'm going to be asking the manager on if anything needs to be done around the place to help out.
Okay. Yours is going to be fairly easy to resolve. Raphael, we'll get yours out of the way here first. As for how you're spending your day, we're doing things in a bit of narrative time. I don't want to micromanage what you're doing throughout the course of the day. You've stated a goal, and we'll see how successful you are in meeting it. And, I mean, something else may happen, but for day one, this is primarily what you're focused on doing, whether it's an action or information or something along those lines. So, Raphael, you are asked, you are actually given the opportunity as the night manager shifts into the morning manager, and the morning manager seems a little bit surprised that you came with a rather good recommendation from the head chef of all people, and he tells you that yes, there are actually a lot of things that do need done around the Tumbled Wench. That is going to depend partly on your skill sets, and he's going to have a list of odd jobs. Are any of these? I don't know. Is Raphael the type would he scoff at menial tasks, or develop your character a little bit here? If he's like, yeah, we need the stalls, we need all the poop out of the stalls shoveled out. Can you do that for us?
When he asks, he's going to give a begrudging, but he'll do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, if you're willing to shovel poop, then I mean, there's nothing they won't ask you to do afterwards. So if we've set the threshold, then we have a day's worth of work for you. All right, so you're going to be able to do that. Tell you what. Why don't you give me... you can give me three athletics rolls, as they have you, like, hauling, chopping, scooping, doing all sorts of stuff around the tumbled wench. None of it is particularly skilled work. They're not asking you to be a carpenter, but they're asking you to chop wood for the fire, and you know, do all this other background stuff. $18, $14, and $12. All right. Well, it's evident that your strength is waning as your list of tasks continues to go on. As you're doing all the menial stuff here, though, describe briefly how Raphael is carrying himself or what he's doing as he's performing these menial tasks.
Whenever he gets, whether it's cutting wood, washing, just polishing the tables or anything like that, he does it without complaining, but he always has this look of, I could be doing something better right now anyway.
Okay. Is that kind of an anxiousness? Like, come on, or is he whistling? Does he have a nervous tick or something?
No, it's more of just a day's a day. Let's get it done.
Okay.
So I guess anxiousness would be the right word.
Are you a tail swisher? Are you like a cat when you're annoyed? Like, is your tail kind of just going back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair. All right. So you perform your menial tasks. I mean, all but the one at the end of the day. Pretty well. I mean, you didn't botch the last one, but I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, we asked you for a cord of wood and you chopped up 5 cords of wood or something. So you get through it, and for your efforts, they will give you a gold piece and say thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And Raphael has spent day 1. You're told you can relax. You can, if you would like, you can use one of the baths that the inn provides. And you have your choice. You can have cold water or warm water. So that's a thing. So now let's go over. We have 2 people who are over in Northport. I mean, for the day, quote unquote. Again, if you want to have side adventures, you can think of them and role play through them and present them. But we're just gonna get to like the core of what you're doing. It seems as if Jade was the engine driving this little field trip. So Jade, you are making your way through the well-lit streets, and for a moment, Bright, what would you have to do as like a quick aside to ask Jade, hey, just give me a moment here. You said you're looking for someone, right?
Yes, I'm looking for Delis of the Blue Flame, the author of my book of lore.
Okay. Jade, Bright asks you to hold up a moment as she needs to ask someone a question, as she thinks she sees someone of authority or who might know where to get some information. And as you're doing that, you are, I don't know, she goes inside a shop, you're outside, and it looks like the proprietors have some hanging baskets of flowers, because look, who doesn't have flowers here? It's bright, it smells great and whatnot. And you know what? They're freshly watered, and so you just get that drip, drip, drip of water coming out of the bottom of the pot. And underneath the basket, it is made like a puddle on the ground. And you know, there's hustle and bustle throughout the city, lots of colors and smells and everything. And something in the puddle catches your eye, almost like there's movement, but it's not reflected movement. It is actually like movement in the puddle, but of course, how does that make sense? Because the puddle is what, like an eighth of an inch deep, and yet it seems like something is actually moving inside of it.
That's for me or for Jade?
For Jade, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. She looks at this and she tries to dismiss it. She really does. First, she might even take 2 or 3 steps forward until she stops and her eyes keep glancing back at it, and she starts to lower herself towards it as though whispering to it. Oh, she's not saying anything. She's observing it. What is this?
As you are stooping down to view the puddle, whatever's moving, it's just that. All you're getting is movement. You're not really seeing form. However, as the movement appears to approach the surface of the puddle, again, you're like, this makes no sense. There should be no more depth to the puddle than it's just water on the ground. It seems to pick up the reflection of the flowers and breaching just the top. So here we have, here's the top of the puddle. You get like a little bloop, and you can see that as the water kind of goes around, the reflection of the beautiful flowers that are hanging baskets all around are almost like scintillating, like shifting colors down this little, it'd almost be like a finger that pokes up out of the puddle and is kind of like wiggling around. And as you're stooping, it kind of like does a little like, it doesn't actually sniff, but to convey what it's doing, it goes kind of like a.
She looks at it very curiously, and her thin lithe fingers goes to poke at it. Like, what is the?
Okay. And so we're getting a moment here where you're going to poke back at it. As that happens, the creature starts to slide and like curl its way up your finger and around your hand and arm. Overall, it's maybe 1.5 feet long, and if a snake was made of water that continuously scintillated with the colors and reflections around it, that's what you're viewing. There's really no discernible head. However, this thing is inexorably continuing to go up your arm.
It's not burning or anything of the such, right? Like, this is simply just something that's crawling on me, and it's odd.
Yes.
But it doesn't appear to be hostile, more as curious. We're curious about each other, so Jude kind of just observes it and maybe places her other hand under it to guide it from going too high up her shoulder. And handle it more like a serpent at this point. So she is kind of more curious, maybe lost in it for a moment.
As you're like, okay, come on. It goes over and it still continues up your bicep, around your shoulder, and it now it's curled around your neck, and it's looking here. I'll try and get in profile. So it's kind of looking at you like this, and it's just sort of like wibble wobbling right here in front of you.
Okay, don't panic. And she's clearly like distraught. This is when anything's around her neck. Clearly she would be. As she's looking at this thing, she nods to it slowly and says, "Do you understand me at all, thing?"
And as you're regarding that, this is the time that Bright comes back, and Bright, whatever salutation you wish to offer Jade, like, I'm back, or hey, thanks for waiting, whatever you want it to be. Jade, as soon as Bright acknowledges you, the thing just like loses its form and just it just you have a wet arm.
No. Don't go away. Don't go away. No. I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't mean to scare you. She goes hands on and knees on near the puddle, and she's just talking to it like as if a wounded animal at this point.
Bright.
Sure how to react. Well, what's going on? Did you get into any trouble while I was away? I didn't find my friend.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. She scares me too. She scares me too. Oh, I'm
Here. Is somebody else here? Are you seeing things again?
again. No. I'm
Especially to me, because I do it too. You know that. We talked.
Yeah, we did. We talked. You talked, and I listened, and I jammered, and I'm sorry, Bright. I didn't mean to. She stands up, trying to collect herself, brushing off the dirt and the mud off of her, and just shaking a bit.
A couple people are watching you two.
Are they watching like curiously, or are they watching like they're gonna do something?
They're just watching. I mean, here we have a woman who's stooped next to a puddle, brushing it off her, and then we have a very bright-haired pink orc, quote unquote, having a conversation with her. I mean, not that people are judging masks, because that's common, but I mean, given your stature, people might, make a presumption anyway, and they just want to know what's happening. Why is someone, like, did she just throw up? Or you're probably even hearing that. Like, ma'am, are you all right? And someone approaches you, Jade, and it looks over at you, Bright.
Pink orc before? There's nothing here for you.
Does she need help?
Fine, she's always like this.
My question still stands. Does she need help?
Probably more help than you can give.
Oh. Okay, well, you be well. And the people, like, the do-gooders here just sort of, like, meld back into the crowd in the busy streets here and leave you along your way.
I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to make a distraction. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to. I'm bad, Jade. Bad.
I'm always the distraction. It was just your turn this time. It's fine. I'll do it next time.
Turn. Yeah. Yes, my turn. Jade starts to look about at quarantine. Where's quarantine?
There anyway, so why don't we go?
Yes. Finding the old man. The old warrior. Where is he? Where's the old warrior?
Finding your way to Northport isn't difficult, and even finding where the quarantine section isn't difficult. The difficult part is trying to get inside of the quarantine area, as it is, well, a quarantine area.
Okay.
So it is, you approach, and there is someone dressed in the uniform of the Port Authority, so the longshoremen, everyone who works in the port as some sort of a functionary has a similar theme of dress or a uniform, and so there is a claimant desk, and someone looks up as you two walk in. Who are you here to see or collect?
There was an old man from the ship, who came in, may have come with a paralyzed agent on him, a goo of some sort. Man of war injury. An old man.
Yeah, I know the old man. Oh, poor wretch. What about him?
I've come to see him. I need to see him.
Oh, he's not in good condition. I don't think that I could let him out. Are you kin?
He's the closest thing to a father that she has.
He looks back over to you, Jade.
Jade, at this point, kind of lowers her head, and that's not a far statement from the truth. The fact is that's actually very true. And she kind of seems a little bit dismayed at that, though maybe that might be miscommunicated as something else.
Well, I'll go ask him. If he knows you, I'll let you in. I mean, in all honesty, that old man can't have more than a few days left in him. Hold on. And he kind of gets up. Now, obviously to him, this is routine. He sees sick people come and go, both alive and dead, all day long, every day. So you don't need to roll an insight to realize he's not trying to treat him in a flippant manner, but rather this is a routine procedure that he sees every single day. So you two are left alone at the desk for a little bit, and he comes back and says, it's the darndest thing, but he was able to describe you, and I'd swear that old man can't see an inch in front of his eyes, and he was able to describe you to a T, Missy.
He remembers. Oh, blessed be, he remembers.
Is the little short stack here your guest, or are you coming in, ma'am?
I don't think I need to.
No, she needs to. She is nurse, my nurse.
It's true. I take good care of her.
All right. I'll let you in, but if you cross and you catch someone else's disease, we're not responsible. That's the disclaimer.
It's okay. We're not too afraid of disease.
Oof. He just kind of gives like an exasperated sound and turns away and just does a follow me. So what we can do here is, Fluffy Sheep, because you were able to, I didn't just get you out in order to do that. You were pursuing your goal also on the way for Jade to pursue her goal. I know what you're looking for is Bright, but with the interaction with this old soldier, such as Jade calls him, what are you looking to do? To hear stories? Are you looking for information? Do you just want to spend time next to him and listen to him breathe? Like, what does Jade want to do?
Oh, was Jade? You thought you were talking to Bright.
Well, I was addressing both of you. I knew what Bright... I know what Bright is doing, and I have that set up with what I'm looking for how you're spending the day, or effectively on a dice roll or two. But I want to know, what does Jade wish to do with or around the old man?
Jade wants to end up checking on his health. How long does he have? If he's not long, how does she get him home? That's what needs to happen. So she's going to end up doing so. And if not, she knows the path that must be taken. And her mind is a wheel with plans and other such abstractions. And she wants to end up checking his health. If he's able to make it to his family, Hero's family, maybe find a way to know them, know his name, his true name.
All right. Then what you can do for me, because you have already established this kind of, in its own way, an intimate connection with this man. Over the course of time, you can talk with him to try and get some information about him. What kind of a social skill do you see Jade employing to get the information from him?
Combination between medicine, religion, and insight. For medical condition, how well he's doing, religion, particular faiths, and through his family's religious customs, knowing his family and what their customs are in order to follow them appropriately, and insight he may be able to offer if there's anything else that may be on his mind.
Okay, that series of I'm not opposed to that series of events. As Jade is from Mesomasca, and he talks about Mesomasca. A lot of this stuff, I think, can come naturally. I don't need a dice roll for. What I'm going to hinge this on, though, is this just going to be a persuasion to get him to open up? Do you want to maybe talk to him? Like, if you consider him an old soldier, you want to use some intimidation to be like, yeah, tell me, if he's kind of fading or you're concerned about him and you want him to snap to attention. Do you want to use intimidation? Do you want to give him some, sweet deception and make him think that he's elsewhere? What would be like a charisma based, like a social skill that you want to use here?
If that was the case, then it would be deception. It is the trying to end up courting him in his emotional state to try and open up and truly end up giving into what is happening. He has accepted his fate, but considering his chances of getting home, that's the biggest thing on her mind. So deception, I think, is where she would lean it. It's where she flies best.
Okay, go ahead and make deception at advantage. Okay. He's not too tough a nut to crack. Though you get the feeling that you're getting that he's thanking you for trying, and so he's still opening up, but if there's a little twinge in your heart, it's that he might have caught you doing what you're doing. So he doesn't say like, "Oh, bless your heart," in that very quaint southern insulting fashion. But you do get kind of a, he closes his eyes and he kind of gives a little bit of a chuckle, like, "Oh, yes, I know exactly where I am and what's happening. You've made it very clear. Thank you." He's sincere as far as you can tell with that. But you think he kind of zinged you a little bit on the deception and trying to help him. Still
as would be expected of an old soul.
Still with a wheeze and a smile. And in fact, now that you're close to him and you are in a little better conditions where light is much more available, Doc, if there's a way that you can bring him up, you can look upon the face of the old man. And you learn through the course of opening up a couple basic tenets of his life, or some aspects of his life, I should say. His name, his true name isn't just Old Soldier. It is Geroff, Geroff, Geroff Avalanche, as in snow tumbling down a mountainside. And he comes from a city called Browbeat. There we go. He comes from a city called Browbeat. And Jade, you would know Browbeat, being from Mesomasca, as a town/small city that exists in the Brow region of the mountains of Mesomasca. And they do the primary amount of quarrying, masonry, tunneling, stoneworking, etc., etc., etc. As you're close and in the light, you can see that his eyes are milked over, and his skin is wrinkly, but now you can really tell that this man has many old, faded tattoos on his skin. Maybe just with the dankness or the darkness or the smudges or the mold or whatever, that you didn't see them before because you didn't really even pay attention to him until the attack of the Man-O-Wars. But now that you're close and he's lying there, and he's rather still because his body hasn't necessarily recovered from the paralytics, you can see this is the face that is looking up at you. In addition, you learn that while he's not a soldier in the purest sense that he was a part of the Mesomascan, standing army or navy, he was a volunteer. He was like a volunteer policeman in the city of Browbeat, and the fact that this man had worked most of his life around stone and doing athletic stuff, he has the body for sure of someone who has been in physical prime that you'd expect of someone in a formal military standing. So there's your interaction. I know it's abbreviated, as we don't have all the time in the world to get through the minutia. Again, this could be RP'd out or something, but you're getting a couple bullet points about him and his life. You learn where he lived, or even still lives, and wishes to return to. Of a note to you, Browbeat is about 60 miles south of the capital. And there is, in fact, a road that connects Masque of Flowers to Browbeat, and it is called the Highway because it is a very well-maintained stone road that is raised above ground level, meaning that even if it's raining, it will not flood or get muddy. After a while, though, Jade, the man in quarantine is going to come back and say that it's time for you to come to the front. I can't have you back here much longer. If you're speaking on mic, I can't hear you, Derek.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I was talking most of this time, and actually, there we go. There's the problem.
Yep. Okay.
Well, Jade is grateful. She thinks of him as an old soul. He's the reason he's caught her, and she finds a little bit of amusement in that as she continues trying to make things feel better, trying to end up making ends meet. But fact of the matter is he'll only give up what he can. Though Jeroff, she ends up taking note of this name and wondering, how did we get him home?
Are you asking him that, or is that just amusing for yourself?
I think she's asking him that.
Oh.
Like, how can she do so?
Oh, well, I suppose that if I don't die here in quarantine, they're gonna watch me for a while before setting me free. I can always invoke my work with the Masons. They would provide me with transportation, even if it was to a funeral, given my state. However, upon my release, if I don't get an escort by them, I certainly wouldn't mind the company. Either way, I think I'd see myself getting home just fine.
Yes, of course, old soldier. Of course. I will be sure to make arrangements. I will do what I can. I will do what I can. I will do what I can. I will do what I can.
Oh, you're one of those good people I've heard about. Not too many of them left these days, you know. But you're one of them.
No, not good. Not good. No, Jade's not good. But I see the path that must be taken, and your road is far from over, old man. Far from over.
Ma'am, your time is up, ma'am. I have to take you back to the front.
I'll see you soon, old man. And rest assured, I'll see you soon. And Jade looks up. And is there any windows near his bed? Anything close from the outside?
Yeah, there are barred windows that have shutters.
All right. She keeps that in mind. It's going to be a busy night to her.
Okay. Bright, Jade is returned to you at the front desk.
And Bright is running into the same problem where...
Yeah, I can't hear you, Bright.
I think I muted that
There we
during
go.
Jade's scene so I wouldn't interrupt by mistake. And now
We
I
did the same thing.
Yep.
talk.
Mute
Okay.
strikes again. All right, so Jade has returned to you and has learned some things. Now, in the meantime, as we've kind of gone over that you have done at least a little bit of cursory research, Bright, you can... Tell you what. Your goal is a little less at fingertip length than what Jade was after. So why don't you make an investigation at disadvantage in order to try and get a clue about, can you get one step closer to finding this person?
I'm going to go ahead and use my portent to roll a 13 on that.
Okay.
I have +3 to investigation, so that'll give me a net of 16.
Okay. So you foresaw this in the morning. When you woke up, however you did it, there's a pattern in your potato soup. I don't know. You look through the window and the trees were waving just right, or something along those lines. I don't want to fill in how you receive your visions. This is your character, but as part of your comings and goings, it was a dream, a headache, or again, your soup just spelled ooh, and you realize it's just Cheerios in that alphabet. So,
I'll write it up in the thing after the game. I'm
Sure.
just trying to not waste time.
Yep, that's fine. All right. Northport is not the home to a lot of authors simply because while paper is something that is a trade good, you're going to most likely be looking in Westport. Now this is the name of the actual port, and there's one on each of the compass directions. However, that is the port that is located in Hanakak Taer. Now, to note, this place is known as the Masque of Flowers, and it had an infernal translation because tieflings are a part of I think they're like the big minority population here in Mesomasca. Where we're encountering, where we're getting kind of like the Quebec area, right? So it's the French holdout, French is first, and etc. At least so much as I as an American understand it. Here in the West, it's called the Masque of Horns. That is the name in common of the Western region, and therefore the name of the capital city as well. But it is referred to by its infernal name first, and it's just known in common as the Masque of Horns. As there are two major port cities in the West, and it is known to have just a larger population and a lot more coming and going. So you have a clue that says maybe if you continue to the south and west into that region, and specifically into Masque of Horns or Hanakak Tair, then you could take another step in your journey.
What day is it? Will we have time to get there today?
No, it'll take more than a couple days to reach there.
It's a different town then. It's not just like a different quarter of this town.
Correct. Yeah, we're
Okay.
talking a different region. Mesomasca itself is about 500 miles from tip to tip, lengthwise, and so we're talking. It's going to take, steady, unhindered journeying in a horse-drawn wagon or something. It's still going to take you a while to get there. Along the way, it's not just the next town over. If you said something, I didn't hear it. I'm still not hearing it.
I said that's fair.
Oh, okay, all right. And
Oh,
that
what went wrong there?
And as a DM, I have, as I was working with Doc on the back end of things here, I have the map written out. I just haven't actually put the dots on the map to revise the map of Mesomasca with a scale chart and some of the bigger cities and whatnot. So
I have a god's eye view of it anyway, right? All we have is where people tell us things are. So.
yeah, you're gonna have to go by that for right now. So. Okay, so the two of you can have whatever adventures along the way, presuming you don't get yourselves murdered, and the story can continue with both your characters. The major part of what you wanted to do in the day, I'm going to consider resolved, and we will then go over to the arena.
Yeah, that's fine. We can head on back to the Tumbled Wench.
Okay. So now we come over to the Sleep Sand Circle, where we have Celine and we have Tazray. And today, well, it's what you'd expect. There's a lot of fighting going on. There are people versus people, animals versus animals, people versus animals, and there's also shows of skill planned for the day. And none of what's slated here, with the exception of animal combat, is considered to be lethal. They're not fighting to the death here in this arena. Though they are, people can get incapacitated, bones broken, etc. But no one is out here to just get murked straight up. And any of the animals that are killed are hauled off anyway for food, so it's not even just a waste in that sense. What do?
Yeah, I'll Tazray.
I heard with people, I like fighting people. Animals, they're like bottom of the barrel. It's like if you want to fight, you got to fight people.
And
Well,
would
at
you?
least you're honorable like that.
And you want to sign up to be on a billing of some kind, or do you just want to spectate?
Oh, I want to be on a billing, I want to fight.
Okay. So if you want to fight, you will not be able to fight today, but you can put your name on a list. They are also going to ask for a 5 gold retainer fee to prove that you're not going to just chicken out. If you're going to put your name on this list, you're going to give them 5 gold, and if you don't show up, they're just going to keep it. However, if you do fight, they will give you 4 of your gold back.
Oh yeah, I'm putting my gold down.
All right.
I'm
So
fighting it.
subtract your 5 gold from your character sheet.
I have 12 now. Yep.
And what you can do then is you can make your mark, and you can sign up for the type of event that you would like to engage in. Now, very specifically, written in several different languages, in several different colors, it says that no magic is allowed in the arena. And the reason being, the arena is too close to the edge of town where the flowers exist. And as everyone knows, the flowers cause wild magic to occur. Now,
what would be considered as magic?
Magic?
So would my breath weapon be considered magic?
Your breath weapon is biological to you. It is not magical.
Okay. All right. I should be good then.
But practicing magic in town, well, obviously, look, it's like if you own a weapon, if you're carrying a pistol through, whether you have the concealed carry license or whatever, you do it. Hopefully you're not going to just, do it in the middle of, just take it out and use it in the middle of public. So magic is going to act a lot the same way. The further into town towards the sea you get, the less of this wild magic effect occurs. However, the Sleep Sand Circle, to be accessible to the land travelers that are coming from the south, is on the border of. In fact, you can even see here, it kind of straddles a little bit into Flowerfield before it gets into the town hub itself. And so it's close enough that wild magic can occur, even though it's not likely. All the same, people come here because these are non-magical combats. And so this is by one's pure might alone that they fight. So what you can do with your day is you can watch combats, you can place wagers, you can do I don't know what else would excite you or Celine, but if you want to see what you're getting into, I mean, there's a seat, you can sit in it and watch what happens.
Oh, yep, I'm gonna spectate.
Okay.
I shall also spectate.
Zarhakar asked a very important question in chat. What about magic weapons? Magic weapons are magical, and so something could happen. Triggered on what? I don't know. That might depend on what the weapon is or does. If you have a wand that shoots magic spells, you know, maybe it's a chance on when you use it. If it's something like what you said, it's a +1 sword. It's always on. It's always magical. And so if you have something even low level like that can somehow cast fireball centered on itself accidentally, you know, even if it happens once every 100 days, well, once every 100 days your stadium burns down because your magical longsword fireballed it. So and plus, in order to test one's true strength and might, you know, because anyone can wield magic. Anyone can have magic arms and armor, but not everyone can have true strength and guts and resolve.
As a magic user, I find that very offensive.
Good.
As a magic user, I also find that extremely offensive.
Excellent.
As a barbarian who doesn't know what magic is, I find that very offensive.
Yes, I've conveyed exactly what must be conveyed. All right, so I mean, Celine, you came along. Are you sitting in the bleachers with Tazray? Because it looks like he found what he's doing for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, I'll sit in the bleachers with Tazray and watch the fight.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you'll see your fair share of injury, death of animals, and maybe to that one guy you're not sure. You're pretty sure, but you're not sure. But
that's okay. I'll just take notes.
But there is a lot of fighting going on, and you can even see with some of the beasts that they bring in, you can see that some of them are actually not beasts of flesh and blood, but more of bark and sap, as it looks like several creatures are some kind of like a vegetation monster. It's sentient or semi-sentient. And it is able to fight. It's able to crush people and to really put up a good fight. And you know, you hear people in the audience that are booing or hissing or whatever, and you learn that these monsters are actually caught out in Flowerfield, and they seem to be native to the area.
Now that isn't particularly good at all.
I mean, a fight's a fight. I mean, I know it's probably bad, but you know, entertainment's entertainment. You can't devy away from what people want, because that's not how entertainment works.
A fight is a fight, yes. However, wouldn't you much prefer your opponents to be willing to fight you?
That is a good point, though I have been in certain circumstances I wasn't willing to fight. But I mean, hey, you never know. One of those plant things could beat the crap out of one of those guys.
All right, and so here we have very dramatic lens flares. The camera pans up into the sun, and Celine and Tazray have their own little side roleplay conversation or philosophy that they can explore together. But I want to keep things going since we have about 45 minutes left in our session. So each of you have spent your days doing something, and come evening time, it is time to come back to the Tumbled Wench. You know, to put your boots up, to you know, to have a good meal, and to share whatever it is you wish to share with each other. So in that sense, in that sense, however much, I mean, because Derek and Rogue and all them heard the conversation between Tazray and Celine. So if you just want to say, yep, we filled you in on what happened, there you go. That's plot putty. It's wonderful. You all can catch up.
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, if any of you want to withhold something, like Jade had a very private, a more intimate conversation, Jade doesn't have to give the details she learned to the old man, but I'm going to leave that up to you all to figure out as I continue, because you'll have the opportunity to share information of some kind.
I'll stipulate to the plot putty, but I didn't actually see the water snake, so whether Jade is going to share that or not is the only question I would have.
Jade's not sure if she saw that, to be frank.
Okay. Did you tell us about it, though?
She was apologizing profusely to a puddle.
Okay, that's what we know.
As you come back in, you see, if you remember on your first night, there was the chess playing man with like the wild white hair and the glittery eyes. Instead of a burly sailor, though, he seems to have been able to set aside or to get one of the serving girls over, and she's kind of like noodling over the pieces, like she's kind of biting her lip and going, huh. And he seems to be patiently explaining the rules of the game and to be interacting with her. So it's, I don't know. It seems like the character that is just like, oh, he must be a regular. Or have you ever heard the phrase, if you want to know what's happening, talk to the old man at the end of the bar? Maybe something along those lines. You get the usual assortment. There's some sailors in here. There's some townies in here. And then you all are in here as well. And all of you must pay one more silver piece for the evening. So however you all are going to account for that as a group, please do so. Make your arrangements.
Pay
We all want to just pay
silver.
for I pay for mine.
Okay. I mean, I trust you. I don't have your gold and silver totals in front of me, but...
I'll pay for Jade, too.
Okay.
I'll pay for Raph.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, you all might be catching up, but there is a point where one of the serving girls, or the tavern wenches, if you want to call them that, because look, this is the tumbled wench, is called over, and he disappears into a door in the back, and so it leaves the four of you at the table to talk about whatever you want. There's a fire roaring. Whoever cut this wood did a very good job. It's crackling, sparks. It's you just see these like little tails of flame swishing about kind of annoyedly. After a little while, Raphael is going to come back out, and he's going to go sit down at another table. Now, in passing, Raphael, if you wish to address your friends here, you may do so. Otherwise, you are asked to sit at a table across the way in the main dining hall.
Whenever I pass by, I'm just gonna sort of hunch over the table and just say the words, we might have company.
Company.
And then
What?
I go to the table.
But we left a ship full of company. I thought that was the reason we left, was to get away from company. Why is he bringing company? Bright, why is he bringing company?
It's okay. It's okay. They're going to be our friends, too. I know you don't like to have too many friends at once, but it's okay.
Company isn't always bad. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's going to be a brass dragon that's going to punch you in the face 24/7. But I mean, hey, other than that, yeah, it's fine.
Brass dragon.
Never had company. When would you ever have an excuse to spruce up the place? And then I will use prestidigitation to put out the fire and replace it with a minor illusion of a bright pink one.
We just changed the color of the flames.
that gets everyone's attention, and some people are looking around and like what just happened, and everyone kind of settles back down, and as with the pink fire that's roaring, a couple people are back over trying to stoke the actual fire, and to get that going again. Walking in through the doors of the Tumbled Wench are a couple Imperial sailors. These are burly folk. We'll say there's six of them that come in, and two of them do seem familiar to three of the members of the party. So, this is the fabled Tumbled Wench. Very interesting.
Why do you talk like that?
What's all this pink stuff around? And
Probably.
Again, I'm going to politely ask, why do you keep making that noise?
excuse us. None of us were addressing you.
I think he might be insane. He's speaking to himself aloud.
Hey, I'm not insane. I'm Silver. There's a difference.
They
The other ones, the ones who are making the noises.
Oh, they're insane. Yeah, they're insane. They go the TH sound or whatever it's called.
They are quickly seated at a table, and as they're looking around, they're kind of putting off some like some machismo, some don't mess with us kind of a thing. And they're carrying on in their own accented conversation. So you may, I don't know,
Yes,
laugh if you will.
I would like to interact with this.
And so everyone's kind of like awkwardly getting back, but everyone's a little bit more kind of like stooped in because no one wants to talk with these Imperial sailors around. And every once in a while, like one of them tells a joke, and he's like, "That's what she said." And you're getting just some oddball Imperial humor. How would you like to interact with them, Jade?
Jade gets up and expresses that she's nervous around Imperial. They rub her the wrong way, so she's going to her room. However, the second that she is out of her head, or out of view, out of her room, down comes a odd figure dressed as an Imperial.
Okay.
Just as what? You cut out for a second.
Sorry, I had to end up
an Imperial.
I pushed to talk. Oh. Yes, you see, there is a woman, very tight, crew cut, very. This is a uniform that we all end up recognizing quite well, and if that is the case.
Oh, you have Masque of Many Faces. Okay.
You don't know that.
No,
she ends up walking down. What she looks like is a very straight cut Imperial, very straight prim proper. It seems almost authoritarian when she ends up walking down and looks about the room as though she's been here for a while, and looks about and sees the Imperials and gives them a sharp nod with respect. She starts to walk to the table. I'm sorry, is this seat taken?
Oof. No, ma'am, it certainly isn't. Please sit down.
Well, most kindly. Might I end up inquiring on what fine gentleman I might be serving with in the near future? She places it sort of very relaxed. That's perfect.
The six of them will introduce themselves by name and rank. We don't seem to recognize you though, ma'am. What ship did you sail on?
Unfortunately, the ship I ended up sailing on is currently below deck, if you understand my meaning.
Oh, sit.
That's about some of it, yes. The problem is that I end up having, but I'm glad to end up seeing a friendly face as you end up noticing that these people, for lack of a better term, are not exactly hospitable, and they end up trying to take me for a full golden night. Do you understand these prices?
Oh, it's a total whip-off.
Complete
The thing
whip-off.
that they ask for here.
And
Now-
it's at this point, Jade is going to have a conversation, mostly stay out of it, but try and acknowledge, and she's going to listen in on this entire conversation.
As this conversation occurs, coming from across the dining room, and Raph, this is kind of getting back over to where you're standing next to the person that we discussed and that whom you're familiar with, though he is not dressed as he was when you met him. In fact, he's a little bit out of the way. And he is, in fact, following through. He is serving people. There's a group of people in this end of the Tumbled Wench dining room, and they are eating. They're all kind of... Actually, roll an insight, Raph.
All right.
Oh,
Look at that. All right. So you're getting the feeling that there's an awful lot of steak knives for a salad bar. If you get what I'm saying.
All right.
So the people on this end of the dining room all seem to have a nice variety of steak knives and and meat tenderizers and everything, and they're eating a house salad, and you're like, wait a minute. Who cuts their salad with a steak knife? Everyone knows you use a salad knife. But anyway, you're getting that feel from this end of the room. Now, as that said, when the Imperials walk in, let alone when this other one comes in from the stairs. The guys over on that end of the room are getting like their hackles are raising and they're like muttering. Someone comes over and talks to the person that you know. Well, I mean, know is kind of a strong word, but with whom you're familiar, and etc. and so forth. He seems to give a bit of a nod, and the other person goes back, and they continue enjoying their salad for a little while. This is about the time that we sync up now with this officer, with this Imperial officer, kind of really getting into ribaldry with the other sailors. Now, so now I've brought you up to the current point in time that was spearheaded by Derek, and I want to find out then, for the rest of you who are eating, after Jade excused herself to go upstairs, what are you doing as you see these Imperials eating? They're joined by a seventh one, but everyone else is kind of relaxed. The band is playing again. Are you just eating and drinking? Are you colluding? What would you like to do?
Yeah, no, I'll just be having something to eat. However, I will definitely be keeping an eye on them.
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of distracted tending the fire. Sometimes it's pink, sometimes it's green.
Okay.
So besides that and eating, I'm aware of the surroundings, but I'm not really focused in on like what are these Imperials doing exactly.
Taz?
Taz is having an inner monologue.
Okay. Okay.
He doesn't know whether the fire is pink or green. He can't tell anymore.
Okay, so it's a very monosyllabic monologue. Pink?
Yep.
Green? Blue? Huh?
Yep. Pretty much. Yep.
Okay. All right, so you're watching the light show. It's at this point from across the dining room that some insults start getting hurled over at the table of Imperial sailors by some rather gruff-looking gentlemen. And now Jade, as you're sitting with them, you're kind of brought in on this as a couple of these men are making some very lewd remarks about, you know, wondering what it would be like to conquer some Imperial territory themselves.
Truth is that they are beneath us. After all, we are imperial. And what wouldn't we want to do in order to make sure that we end up keeping ourselves prim and proper as proper sailors of the, well, the Imperial Navy as it so stands?
But we ain't supposed to thought anything if it is at all possible. I mean, look, let them be the Quath. The Quath backwater people that these people in Methodopia are. And at that point, there's another very rude remark and an accompanying gesture, which may or may not include a waggle of some kind in your direction.
How vulgar. No. I was more issue-leaned, and I was more concerned about the shipment, truthfully. Unfortunately, were you more successful?
I just like as you're trying to get this information, just these really rude comments just keep coming over, and the big burly guy that you had originally tried to wiggle a worm into his brain, he stands up. That's it. And he gets up and he clomps over to the table that's hurling these insults, and he's so close. There's mere inches between his face and the others, and he's got his big sausage finger in this guy's face, and you could just see, you know, veins pulsing. You know, one more joke. Just one more! Oh, and I swear we'll thwash you!
Did I hear ball fight?
I think I hear the noise of a bar fight about to start.
Alright, Taz would like to rage.
At this point, Raphael, the man with whom you're sitting next to, he leans over to you, and he says, I believe that you have heard the man. He is asking for just one more. I think it's best that if there's something going to happen, that we begin it on our terms. Would you please do me the honor of providing the one more? Raphael, I want you to come up with some kind of a yo mama joke, or some kind of a provocative taunt to these Imperial sailors.
So I look over to him and rub my chin for like a second or two, and
there is a lady one. There's 6 burly dudes, and then there's this other lady that came in from nowhere.
And then I sort of lean forward on the chair that I'm sitting in, and I look toward him and I say, "Hey, look, I've seen some ugly people in my time, but sheesh, how ugly was your mom?"
The guy looks over to you. This from a tiefling? And while he's looking at you just like completely like, I just had a tiefling call me out for having an ugly mama. The man whom he was addressing, which you're familiar, he seems to be a part of the kitchen staff. If you get my saying, he looks over you like this, and just right to the ear, like a punch to the ear, of all places, just winds up, and all of you, I mean, time slows down, and you just see this one dude just like Little Mac versus King Hippo, kind of, you know, like Mike Tyson Punch Out, just comes up and, ooh, hits that star. And the guy just blinks at you, Raph. I mean, because he was looking at you. He just kind of blinks once, and a little bit of blood kind of trickles out of his ear, and he collapses. Like, he just, like, falls forward, hits the table, and the table then flips. All of the food and drink on the table goes flying to the next table. And at which point people are like, what is... And if the mood wasn't already tense, I'm afraid that the catalyst has been struck. And there is a good old fashioned slobber knocker about ready to start here, as people just get up. And you know what? For a lot of, especially where Raph is sitting, a lot of these men were all too eager. Like, they just rip their shirts off, like, first second. And they all have these, like, tattoos of some kind. Well, most of them do have tattoos over them. But everything just explodes into violence inside. The serving wenches, aye, and they run away. And in some guests are trying to escape through the front door. And of course you have the Imperials now, which are now five male sailors and a female sailor, which are caught up in the center, or the nucleus of this bar fight. As things are shouting and improvised weapons are being used. I mean, look, over here, someone spilled the peas. Come on. Someone spilled the peas. And
I have a request.
What's that?
Alright, I have a request, my dude. Alright, so Tazare is gonna see the peas being spilled, and he's going to get, like, overly mad at it, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's just going, oh, nope, that's it. Rage just jumps into the fray.
He doesn't care who he's knocking out, so long as he's knocking somebody out.
Yeah, pretty much. He just goes in for it.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I would like you all to roll initiative. And we are going to... I want you all to go through... This is going to be a quasi-narrative combat. I mean, maybe combat rolls could come into play, but I would like to know what you're doing in the middle of this grand melee that just broke out in the Tumbled Wench.
Yeah, I got a natural one.
Sorry,
I also have a natural one.
I got an 18. So
you got to stand there and you got to pump yourself up for a second. Like, yeah, you're going last, but it's because you're pumping yourself up.
Yeah.
Pouring over the peas.
So,
yeah, who knocked him my pea?
Doctor, if you could add my initiative 20 to the turn tracker if we're using that, that would be good.
Since we don't have tokens, we can't do it in the tracker automatically. You'll have to do it yourself.
Yeah, I'm getting to it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, well, while he's doing that here, I mean, it looks like it's going to go Celine, Jade, Raphael, Bright, and then Tazray.
Yeah.
So as that's getting loaded up here, Celine, you've had your half elven ears have been kind of twitching here. You've been picking up the vibe. You're the first to act, and there is going to be, look, this is close quarters combat. If anywhere you move, you might possibly risk getting an attack of opportunity because everyone is swinging. I mean, it's all really just, there's a bunch of people all together, so we don't need a map for this. There's just a bunch of people in it's a bar, and I think we can do this in our theater up here in our brain. So bear in mind that, you know, if you can try and run and hide, you can try and flee, you can just stand and fight and have a blast, or do whatever you want. So what are you doing to kick off the party's involvement in the fight that's swirling around you?
Okay. So I am going to, as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Sanctuary on myself.
Okay.
Just in case anyone decides to think that attacking me is a good idea.
Okay. What's the DC against that?
I believe it is a DC of 13.
Okay. Okay, what are you doing with the rest of your turn?
Alright, with the rest of my turn, I am actually going to slide my mask onto my face. And I'm going to walk over to those 2 Imperial sailors.
Well, there's 6 of them still standing.
Oddly enough, the one that happened to be sitting seemed to be the woman that's approaching them.
Yeah, no, her is her eyes are on the 2 men, and she's going to call out, "Oh boys!" And I would like to kind of do a little flourish using Chill Touch, not actually to attack them, but to make an intimidation check to basically have this skeletal reaper appear behind Celine as her blue eyes look to the both of them, and she just smiles at her things like, "I warned you." And I'd like to make it intimidation checks against both of them.
Okay, well, just make an intimidation overall, just straight up.
Okay. Ouch.
Okay. So you stand up, and you know, and you're giving that coy like, it's me again, and at least the one, because unfortunately, like, Sausage Fingers already went down. He got punched in the ear. But the other one who was there, would look over and recognize you. And unfortunately, you're not as intimidating as perhaps you could be, as just a handful of peas just like splatter against your white porcelain mask, and you just have like this, this Exorcist style like green goop dripping down your porcelain mask, and you look a little bit ridiculous. So
Selena's just going to
go ahead.
Sigh.
Are you gonna sigh?
She's just gonna sigh at that.
Okay, Jade, what are you doing?
Okay, there's, as I understand it, there's a couple that end up going forward. The rest are just kind of trying to catch up to back up their cohorts. That's correct?
The primary antagonists are the far, whoever these diners are at the far end of the dining area. Because they're the ones who have been throwing the insults, and this is where a lot of it came from. It's just everyone else is kind of getting in on a bar fight themselves. So if there is a target for aggression, if you want to go that route, then it is the group that started the insults. Otherwise, retreat is an option too if you wish to try and pursue it.
It is a retreat that I want to end up doing, but I'm actually specifically trying. I've been sitting with these soldiers, watching them drink, trying to figure out, okay, who here is probably the drunkest, the one that's not all there, but not aggressive. So I'm just going to, you can go ahead and pick one, whatever you think Jade would have figured out. And she's going to end up reaching to that one, grab hold of the shoulder, and say, we need to get out of here. Follow.
The drunk one? You're grabbing the drunk one? Oh, command. Yep. Got it. Okay.
I believe that
Wisdom.
will put him at disadvantage because he's out of his or he's drunk out of his gourd. But no,
Let's see. That's fine. So I'll roll that here. Okay.
DC 13.
I rolled a 5, so
Me and him, we're booking it out of there.
yeah. Yikes! We have to scoot. And
Before anyone notices us, gone.
All right, so you and one of the other Imperials start getting out of there. Where are you trying to run outside, or where are you going?
I'm trying to end up running outside, hopefully to be able to get some alone time with this soldier, because he's got some answers I might want, and he can't do that without his jaw.
Okay. All right. Especially as your Imperials here, you all are going to take some attacks of opportunity from people you're trying to go past here. Just sort of like it's almost like passing through just an aura. Like it's not even something that you could even try and dodge everything, because it's just a swirling melee here. So let's even see if any of these blows land. So nope.
That one's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Yep. And
That
yep.
one's gonna
Okay.
hurt. Oh, I might be unconscious, or he might be.
So it's gonna be 5. Okay, so you're going to take 12 points of bashing damage as you're struck three different times trying to run out.
I'm bleeding. I'm hurting. Ow. We're not exactly made of stern stuff here.
And you do manage to duck out of the front door after taking a couple lumps. We now are going to go in initiative to Raphael. It looks like 2 of the Imperials have broken off and ran, and the person whose body you're guarding is sitting back, and he's watching. His eyes are scanning, and he asks that you do not act unless acted upon. Now, that's what he has requested of you. However, I'm going to leave the decision of what you would like to do. There's no one who's currently threatening you, but you can... What would you like to do? You could take some kind of an action, or... You tell me.
I'm going to go into a defensive stance, then dodge.
Okay. All right, so you're set up. You kind of have, you're watching over. And in fact, we'll even say that while no one is like directly attacking, we'll say that there's a couple bottles that are hurled your way, and let's see what happens to the 2 bottles. I imagine a 20 is going to hit.
20 does hit.
14 is probably not going to. Okay. So a couple are bashing against, like one's against the wall, and you look over, and one is coming straight for the man who's still sitting down and watching what's happening, and you manage to kind of like, you hold your shield up, and you manage to block it, and another one just it clips you like right in the side, and the bottle doesn't even break, it just hurts as it hits one of your ribs, and it deals 3 damage to you, 3 bludgeoning damage. And he's just like, really? Or whatever. I won't roleplay your character, but I mean, certainly you took a bottle of like a bottle of wine or something to the midsection, and you can react appropriately.
Who's the nerve to throw bottles in a bar fight?
Next up, we have Bright. What is Bright doing? And I will remind all of you too. I'm sorry to interrupt. You can use your action to use a skill of some kind too. But go ahead, Bright.
Yeah. So what's the like how much of the room is consumed by the brawl? Is it just like around there a couple of tables, or is it spilling out and becoming the entire?
The it's the dining section. I mean, of the first floor, the dining section is the majority. I mean, there's a front desk, and then there's like a little lobby for the inn, but the inn rooms are upstairs. So really, what's happening is the dining
common
room
room
is
is-
filling. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just to say how much of the dining room is consumed by the brawl though.
Yeah, it's all, it's moving randomly. People are shuffling and swinging. There's bottles and chairs and, peas flying everywhere.
So many peas.
Yeah, it must be the season.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Mage Armor.
Okay.
And then that's my action. So, go around and see if there's anybody who seems like they're, in some degree of distress, like if they're afraid and don't know what to do.
You're looking around?
If there's
Or-
any innocent bystander who seems like they could need help.
In a quick scan, I mean, yeah, there's a couple people that are ducked under a table, but it's hard to... so that would be like a standard action perception. But in a quick scan, I mean, yeah, there's people who are, who are moving and fighting, but there's some people underneath a table. Some of the serving wenches are just darting in and out. It's a very target-rich environment.
Okay. All right. So with the Mage Armor on, then I'm just going to stand up and get ready, but I'm not going to do anything else.
Okay. Then we come over to Tazray. Oh, I can't hear you. Your mute, or your mic is muted.
Okay.
There you go.
So I'm gonna do something kind of risky. So I'm gonna back up a little bit, and I kind of want to get the entire crowd in my vision. Is that possible?
If you want to do that, I will get some swings in on you. Because you're going to have to move through and leave threatened squares.
How many hits of opportunity with that?
I mean, you're sitting at a table. You could just stand on a table. You won't get the whole room, but you'll be like a little lighthouse in the middle.
I think I can. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, all right. I think you know what I'm going to do.
You tell me.
I'm gonna breath weapon.
Okay. Which... Are you aiming for a particular area, group? What are you doing?
I was seeing where because there was those people who were throwing the insults at the Imperials, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna breath weapon at them.
Okay. Raphael is standing in that crowd.
Raph, you think it'll be okay?
Are you shouting this to him in the middle of combat?
Yes.
I think I could handle it. Just
All
don't
right.
kill anybody.
All right, I'll try. And then
This is probably going to kill everybody.
you see a little bit of mist go in, and then he's gonna turn around and do it to the people behind him.
To some random brawlers behind you?
Yep. He's gonna fake out,
Sure.
and then he's gonna breathe behind.
Okay, so... You turn around and you breath weapon these bar brawlers, and they frost over and just fall down.
You're not gonna make a roll damage?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
These are like level 0 commoners.
Well,
Oh, look, I have work to do.
I mean,
Well, still
mass
then.
murdering people in a bar could lead to prison, so...
not massive murder.
The commoners, how much HP do you think they have?
But let me tell you, they're not dead. They're just dying of hypothermia.
They're unconscious.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he can choose. He can choose like whenever a hit is made, you can choose to deal non-lethal damage and just knock them
I
out.
was hoping it was non-lethal.
You don't know. You just did a frost breath on a bunch of brawlers. I will find out when you have more time to look at the aftermath of your actions.
Oh God! All right.
We come back around to Celine. What is Celine doing?
First thing she's gonna do is she's gonna clean off her mask with the peas.
Yes.
She's going to turn to the direction where that came from.
Yep.
And I'm guessing there's someone nearby who kind of flipped the table or whatever.
Yeah, there's a table flip nearby. That's fine.
No, I mean like was there someone who actually flipped the table who sent the peas flying towards Celine?
Oh, yeah, but that's over by where Raphael is standing.
That's okay. Was there a particular person who did that?
The person who's bleeding out of his ear because he was punched in the ear is the one who flipped the table when he collapsed.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm just gonna head outside. Any attacks of opportunity against me, they've got to make wisdom saves to begin with.
Sure. You get some swings on you. We'll do the wisdom saves first.
That attack doesn't happen. That attack also doesn't happen. Nope.
Celine just swishes her cape and just says, "I'm out of here," and just the crowd parts for her. You know, people try swinging, they just sort of turn around and bonk themselves in the forehead, and yeah, diplomatic immunity.
she is the
Until someone shoots them in the face.
Okay, so Celine is outie. We now come over to Jade, who is outside. Jade, as you're outside and we're coming up to our time limit, this is something that we can roleplay through later. I want to get through the bar fight scene, if that's all right. And so let's come back down to Raphael. Raph, your patron, looks over to you at the heaving silver dragonborn that's just on top of the on top of the table, and he's frosting at the mouth. I mean, everyone can foam, but who frosts at the mouth? And he sits back and he says, "I like that one. That's one of yours, isn't he?"
Yeah, sort of glad too.
Oh,
My
snap!
divine blessing to the survival of the extra frosty casualties of this fight.
Oh, Zarhakar may have stepped in and saved and saved our frosty bartenders here. Now, so as that happens, so Raph, you can still take your turn, but there's actually just as you saw Celine almost create this unpenetrable aura of just don't even touch me. I'm just so gone out of here. You all can see sitting in the corner with Raph next to him, there is a figure of a man who is just as shirtless as many of the others who were all too eager to take their shirts off. He has a golden blonde beard and long hair. Across his chest is a tattoo, and of course you're finding many tattoos on the shirtless men who have been all too eager to fight. And so he's sitting back in that pose, and he's watching. And you all can see this happening. He's watching everything that's happening, and yet, and we'll have to pretend that that Raphael is one of these pretty ladies that are caressing his chest. But so Raphael is standing there.
I still want to say Taz have some consequences.
Okay, so the bystanders have been saved, but Taz is getting a bit of a thumb on the scale, a bit of a thumbs down, so to speak. But anyway, he's back. His boots are up on the table, and he's simply watching you all. Raphael, are you continuing to take your defensive stance?
Yes, as long as and nothing's coming towards him.
Okay. Some people are. They're gonna try and take a swing, and okay. So yeah, they come at him, and you block, like because he's obviously within 5 feet of you. You block this easily, and he looks at you, and he gives you a nod of approval. Oh, my boys were right about you. Continuing down, I'm sorry, I gotta get through because lethality has to leave like really, really soon. We're gonna finish out Bright and Tazray. What are each of you? It's gonna be Bright first, then Tazray, and then I think we can. I'm gonna make one more revelation, and it's gonna involve another spectator here, and then we'll call it a night here with someone else making an appearance as kind of a, not really a cliffhanger, but as a, but wait, there's more. So anyway, Bright, what you doing? I can't hear you. Your mic is muted. Still can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, the dog was in the way.
Oh, gotcha. That's fine.
I'm gonna take the dodge action, and I'm gonna run over to Raphael.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask him here. Do you know what's going on? To talk properly.
Yeah. A lot of fighting.
I can see.
This man looks down at you, Bright, and he gives you, like, all his teeth are intact. They're white and straight, and this man just has, I mean, he's got this like Chris Helmsworth, physique and demeanor. Oh, still can't hear you.
Oh, I've taken my turn, so I'm
okay.
I'm done.
Tazray.
Who is the smuggest looking person in here?
Just looking around, that's difficult to say. We're talking about dozens of people. Yeah, right. Derek is showing off. There's dozens of people engaged in a barroom brawl. That's just not information you could get by.
Okay. Correction. Who is the only person who? Oh, I'm guessing the blonde guy is the only person who hasn't actually fought anybody, right?
Maybe. You can spend a standard action to look around and try and use perception to see.
Yeah, no, he's going to turn around. He's going to walk past Raph. I'm going to show you a magic trick, and he's going to punch the blonde guy.
Are you really sure you want to do that?
You are going to be taking some attacks of opportunity for doing so.
Okay. Miss.
Okay, so
I see you
guys
swinging and missing, and I'm going to use my other portent, and he's going to get the 11.
Oh, the 11 to swing on Tazray.
Oh, when he swings at Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're gonna give him an 11 automatically. Okay.
Okay, so that's +3. It's a 14 to hit.
So what is going to happen here is, karma, frost bites back, and so what you find is you go to attack, and what. You're wielding an axe, or what are you doing?
No, I'm using my fist.
Oh, you're using your fist. Okay. So you go to punch him, and he very quickly dodges out of the way, and he is going to strike you.
Yep. Oh god, he's
That
oh
and
boy.
so.
All right.
And
Oh.
you are going to find yourself. So you know how you have ribs,
Oh,
and
I
and you
love
know
those.
how you have like space between your ribs.
He just punched that, didn't he?
Well, no, he didn't punch it. But you see, there's a space between ribs that a knife blade very easily fits.
Oh, he just stabbed it.
And so he has made a nice dragonhide sheath out of your torso.
How much damage is that in total?
So this is going to be, that was 4, 7, 8, 12, 22 points of piercing damage.
I'm knocked out.
Okay. So he knocks the wind out of you in so much that he punctures your lung and just allows a bloody, foamy burble to come out the side of your torso.
Final words are, fuck the human. Then he's gonna pass it.
Okay, so you kind of make a bloody fart out the right side of your torso, and
More fucking work. Yay.
and chest wounds suck, don't they?
Hey, it's just a skill.
Oh, and Celine has left. Okay. So what we're going to do here is the fight is going to continue on. Raph, you're on defense. Jade is outside. Celine is outside. Tazray is flopping on the ground like a Magikarp. And Fluffy, a.k.a. Bright, is standing over by Raphael. All right. The fight is going to... I mean, look, a lot of these people are just knocking each other out pretty quickly. It will end quickly, and lethality, don't worry, I'm wrapping this up here. Almost now in opposition as the fight has thinned out. There are really two characters that don't seem to have taken any kind of participation or damage in the fight. One of which is this very, beautiful, like, stacked blonde man with the tattoo across his chest. And the other is the man with white hair that you remember for every time you come in, it's like he's around, he's just the old man who hangs out. He also doesn't seem to have participated in the fight at all. And when everyone's kind of cleared out and you hear the tweet, like guards are on their way and etc. If we could throw his portrait up there. For those inside the bar, you see... Well, I should say this, actually. For those who are inside the bar, you see the man at the end of the table. For those of you who are outside the bar, so this would be Jade and Celine, you see that this man with white hair... and these golden eyes. Now, it's not even just reflected lantern light. There's flickering gold light. He walks out and maybe not addressing Jade necessarily, but approaching Celine. We will leave off on kind of a cliffhanger-ish. If you want to hop in, Volvo, and give like a quick 1-2 minute saying something, we will pick up next session by having the cleanup phase of what just happened.
Clean up Taz first.
Well, yeah, we'll have to mop him off the floor, of course.
Yeah, I'll just say that after the fight dies down, I'll go back in and survey what needs to be done, and seeing Taz kind of bleeding out on the floor, he'll get my he'll be the first.
Okay, well you're being approached by this man with white hair first.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The man with long white hair walks up to you and says,
I have a ton of background noise.
"Oh,
Yeah, you have background noise. Can you limit that?
let me see real quick. Okay, how about now?
There you go. Okay, go ahead and make your pitch.
Well, it seems like those people in there ruined my game of chess. You all seem to have done well avoiding all of that.
Quite.
She just got up and walked out, you saw.
And she didn't even take a hit while
Yeah.
she was walking.
A very wise decision. There were a lot of people in there.
Yes, I'm actually kind of worried about a compatriot of mine, large dragonborn. He can tend to be rather fighty, and if someone decided to get a little bit tricksy and pull out a weapon,
Not a smart lad, is he?
he prefers to use his more base instincts.
I see. Maybe later I could talk to all of you about a task that I need completed. You all seemed very fit for the job.
Of course, I would be happy to talk to you about some adventuring work. If you would excuse me, however, I believe that there are people who need me inside. And she will head inside just to survey the damage. She's like, I'm more than happy to talk to this guy, but right now, I kind of need to go inside and make sure that the rest of my party isn't dead. She doesn't even know where Jade is.
Pretty much as you walk off, he says, have fun with that.
Oh, I will.
Oh, this is a snarky bastard.
Okay. So the you can come up with whatever it is. You'll hand Celine some kind of a token that's kind of a, hey, come back and we'll talk. But I understand you got things to do. So it is here that we'll end with the bar getting kind of cleaned up after everyone's clocks were cleaned. And now their parts are all over the floor. So...
yeah.
Tazray will probably receive a cure wounds from me.
Oh, okay. Well, don't cast any spells just yet. We're gonna call it here.
Okay.
And then we'll pick up the next second. But for right now, Celine, you've been handed some sort of a token by this white-haired man.
Yep.
And we'll
Yep,
we'll do the resolution afterwards. So.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that you got to get going. I mean, if the rest of you want to hang out and chat, do some side role play, that's fine. But so that is going to be tonight's session. And we can have a talk afterwards or whatnot. But I wanted to make sure that the RP was wrapped up because it's a little after 3, and I know lethality had to get going. So thank you very much for the great session, and it was a lot of fun. I'll still be up and we can talk and do some things from there. But the official part of the roleplay is over for the week, and we'll reconvene on Tuesday. So if any of you are here to linger and to just be out and about, then you can do so, and I'll still be online for a little while broadcasting on Twitch.